You are about to witness the very exciting story that will open new sights in familiar surroundings.
The atomic age was born.
It is a story of a city seeking new horizons in a resolute contest with great challenges.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Green Time. I'm your host John Hickey with the Missouri Sierra Club, and on today's episode we're going to talk about an exciting new project in downtown St. Louis that brings together saving money on your utility bills, creating local jobs, and cleaning up air pollution. And the story begins with the Missouri Athletic Club, which undertook a $2.4 million renovation to make the building more energy efficient. We've got two of the key groups that were involved in that project here tonight. Let me introduce them to you. First, we have Byron DeLear with Set the Pace St. Louis. Thanks for being with us, Byron.
Surely.
And then we have Tim Murray, who's with International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 1. Thanks for being with us, Tim.
Thank you.
So let me start with you, Byron. What is Set the Pace St. Louis? Is that like a running group or what?
Yeah. Well, Set the Pace St. Louis is a program. It's a part of Mayor Slay's sustainability initiative, and it uses a thing called PACE financing. And what PACE financing is it allows property owners to have 100% financing to do energy efficiency, renewable energy, or water conservation projects on their property. And what's kind of different about it is that you can spread out the payments over 20 years so that your annual payments are so low that your actual energy savings exceed your payments, and in many instances, you arrive at a cash flow positive sort of position where you're actually generating money from the energy savings that you're doing. And in fact, the Missouri Athletic Club project, which in 2015 was the second largest commercial PACE project in the entire nation, and on year one, that $2.4 million energy efficiency retrofit will save $200,000 on the first year, and it will gradually step up until year 20. It will be saving $362,000 in total energy savings. And so you can really, when you start to do the math, it really makes sense that we can really increase the sustainability profile of our buildings and do so in a way that creates jobs, saves folks on their energy bills, and of course, significantly reduces climate pollution. And I know, John, you know this. The city of St. Louis has a particularly pronounced level of carbon emissions and greenhouse gases coming from its buildings infrastructure. I believe the national ratio is about 40%, but in St. Louis, 80% of the greenhouse gas emissions come from the buildings. So this is why Mayor Slay and the city's sustainability director, Catherine Warner, have really pressed in to find an innovative funding solution so that all the city property owners can take advantage of the energy retrofit revolution and start saving money and making our city more sustainable and cleaner.
One question, do you know what MAC's annual payment is on that loan?
Not off the top of my head. I can't. The balance sheet is appearing in my mind, but I can't focus in on that particular column right now. But I do know how much it saves the first year to the last year.
But your point is that
I think it's about $136,000 a year, something like that. But it moves. The balance sheets that create these projects, the capital stacks are fairly sophisticated. There's historic tax credits and different kind of incentives. In fact, one of the interesting things that we innovated with the Missouri Athletic Club is that we were able to, and this was a separate political track, but we were able to get a 10-year tax abatement, which means that the property taxes for the Missouri Athletic Club were frozen for 10 years. And here's the argument for that. If you're part of a community-wide effort to increase the sustainability profile of the city by improving your property, and you're making a sizable sustainability investment in your property, you should not be penalized for making that kind of investment. So if the MAC puts $2.5 million into their project, they went to the Land Clearance for Redevelopment Authority, which is part of the St. Louis Development Corporation, and they said, hey, look, you know, we want to make this sustainability investment. Is there any way that you can help us out and not have our taxes go up because we're actually part of this community-wide effort? And so we were able to get Jack Coder, the alderman, was the gentleman that sponsored the bill and the Board of Aldermen, and we testified on behalf of the Missouri Athletic Club. And you know, the athletic club is a significant city asset. It's on the historic registry, National Historic Registry, and it's a city landmark. And so
for people out there in TV land who are just bean counters and just looking at the dollars, MAC might have, even in year one, saved more money than they're paying off the investment for energy efficiency.
Correct.
So it's not something where they're cash flow positive after 5 years or 10 years. They could be cash flow positive in year one, and other similar projects could be in the same boat.
Correct. And you know, what's interesting about this property, John, is this was the first building west of the Mississippi to have air conditioning. And it still had those original air handlers in the Missouri Athletic Club. So, I mean, some people talk about different energy efficiency measures as being low-hanging fruit. In this case, the fruit was all chopped up and right on the plate right in front of you. So it was, you know, everywhere we looked in that property, there were savings that could be entertained.
Yeah, and given the age of the housing stock in St. Louis, I think there's other low-hanging fruit to find. But Tim, what piece of this did members of International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 1 take care of?
Being one of the trades in the city, we came in and provided the electrical portion of this project. We had 4 electrical contractors that participated. We were somewhere probably total between 7 and 10 men, not at all times, but throughout the course of the project. We had up to 600 to 800 man hours. There's still some work being performed still right now on the tail end of the project. And there was another piece inside of there that was some retrofit lighting, which was a little smaller, maybe 100 hours put in there. But we provided the electrical portion of that project. The train company came in, put some, addressed these air conditions that Byron was talking about, and we just do our portion of the work. There were fitters and tenors involved. And we came in, and anything electrical we took care of on that project.
And I imagine a chunk of the savings that MAC will see in terms of your utility bills is lower electricity bills because of the work that y'all
Today's
did.
world, technologically speaking, we can go in places as an electrician and we provide services that lower the cost of just these air conditions being asked to start up. Mm-hmm. We lower the cost of thermostats being programmable, so where they're only running when necessary. A lot of times, just the fact that someone's not in a portion of a building, some of that we have the ability to control that area, and there will be no lighting, no air conditioning. There'd be no read-for, and so those items right there, they do add up and they are significant, lowering the cost of energy in a building that size.
Yeah, I heard even if you move to a variable rate fan to move around the air for heating or cooling compared to a fan that just runs at 1 speed, that the variable rate fans save you a bunch of money.
Undoubtedly, yes. And now even the equipment that we're wiring and hooking up, they're making motors and they're making a lot of components that are energy efficient when we get them, and then we apply our expertise to the final hookup. And so, yeah, it's just a conjunction. The whole thing works together, and we like I say, we provide that electrical knowledge in this field, which is something that we're seeing more of every day. Every day.
And I just wanted to mention There's an amazing amount of technological innovations that are happening in energy efficiency and renewable energy. And what the PACE program does is how it fits in with this is the PACE program is a funding innovation that works hand in hand with the technological innovations in terms of the products and the variable rate motors and different installations that you can perform in these properties. And it really makes everything come together because, like I mentioned earlier, it provides 100% of the financing. And the property owner pays it back on their property tax bill. And there's all sorts of benefits associated with that, including more securitized or more a collateral enhancement piece for the funding sources. So those funding sources can make more loans. They can actually give you a bigger loan. And also, you know, for commercial property owners, when you're paying back a financing piece on your property tax, it's actually not considered debt. It's actually an operational cost, which is called off-balance sheet financing. And so that frees up capital to do other core competencies that your business might have. So it's really amazing. We've seen an exponential increase in PACE nationally. There's been about $1.6 billion nationally.
1.6 billion?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to keep this conversation up. We're going to take a short break and learn about electric vehicles, and we'll be right back.
Some things just go better together. Like a toothbrush and toothpaste. Or peanut butter and jelly. Or an electric car and solar panels. Our car is charged by the house, which is charged by the sun. Now we don't have to pay for gas or deplete the world's resources. Right now we're generating 2 kilowatts per hour at my house. Thank you, son! Now when you buy a Ford electrified car, you'll also get a $750 rebate on solar panels from SunPower. See? 2 things do go better together.
Drive green now with a Ford electrified vehicle to get an exclusive $750 mail-in rebate when you go solar with SunPower. Plus $500 will be donated to the Sierra Club for each purchase of a SunPower solar system. Visit sunpower.com/drivegreen to find out how much you could save with a solar-powered electric car.
Drive green for life!
The Sierra Club is the largest and most influential grassroots environmental organization in the United States. If you care about clean air, clean water, and preserving open space, join the Sierra Club. In Missouri, the Sierra Club's projects include promoting energy efficiency and clean power sources like wind and solar, cleaning up air pollution by retiring dirty, outdated, coal-fired power plants, protecting Missouri's parks like the Ozark National Scenic Riverways. We need you to get more involved. To join the Sierra Club, make a donation, or to find out about Sierra Club events in your area, visit our website at www.missouri.sierraclub.org or call us at 314-644-1011.
Attorney J. Justin Mahan has been fighting for justice and providing legal service to the community for 40 years. He has won numerous awards for civil rights advocacy and community service. Attorney J. Justin Mahan offers free consultation on matters regarding civil rights, marijuana and drug offenses, workplace and accidental injuries, both in Missouri and Illinois. You can contact Attorney Justin Mahan at 314-772-9494 or online at jjustinmahan.com. Call now for your free consultation.
Hello and welcome back to Green Time. I'm your host, John Hickey with the Missouri Sierra Club. On today's episode, we're talking about energy efficiency retrofits for old buildings. And we're looking in particular at the Missouri Athletic Club project in downtown St. Louis. We have 2 guests to help us understand what happened there. Byron DeLear with Set the Pace St. Louis, Tim Murray with IBEW Local 1. And before the break, we were talking about some of the jobs that IBEW members did. And what went through my mind, Tim, is a lot of this equipment, the variable rate motors, the motion detector, thermometers, and et cetera, are new. How do IBEW members keep up with how to work with this new equipment?
Well, that's part of the greatest thing about our trade, I believe, is that it's a constantly evolving industry. I say many times when I'm talking to our apprentices that when you're in a room, probably that room, the most changes we've seen in a room like that would be electrical. But for 25 years, we've been training our people coming into our trade about energy efficiency. So we probably were a little ahead of the technology because as we saw it introduced, we were showing our apprentices how we were going to be doing this. So we have a night school that goes on at our apprenticeship school. The journeymen that might have 30 years in the trade go down there and you know, it's not a continuing education program, but it is a continuing education program. And they introduce themselves to some of these changes. So as this comes out, we definitely have the ability to have people ready and willing to go to work to do all of this. Heck, we have introduced like $140 million into training for these, you know, we'll call them green jobs training. Mm-hmm. And it's just courses that we've put together over the years, and now we've got it to where we're actually going to have a separate green jobs curriculum. It'll be the first one in the United States that's going to start up. So yeah, we're up to date. We were a little ahead of the curve, I think, and yet as it comes, like you said, it just changes. It changes tomorrow. They'll bring something to you tomorrow. We'll put this in, and we've never seen it, but we have training and the ability to wire it up and make it work.
Right.
I just wanted to add something. As a program administrator for the Clean Energy Program in the city of St. Louis, working with organized labor makes our job seamless and very much easier because the organized labor, they bring the kind of capacity and expertise that ensures that the jobs are done properly and that they're done in the most efficient way. And so we have a great appreciation for the IBEW's role in Set the Pace St. Louis. In fact, the program is right now undergoing a reboot, if you will. And as part of that reboot, should, through the RFP process, if Energy Equity Funding, my firm, if we're selected, we've negotiated something called the St. Louis Clean Energy Workforce Agreement, which is very similar to the agreement that was put on the table for the National Geospatial Agency, which is a huge success for our region. As you're well aware, you know, $1.75 billion, something like this, 3,500 jobs to retain that agency in the city of St. Louis. And this is through the St. Louis Building and Construction Trades. The IBEW is one of the affiliated contractors for the St. Louis Building and Construction Trades. And Jeff Abusi signed the letter, and it's got an aspirational goal for women-owned contractors and women subcontractors, minority contractors, the BUD program, which is an apprenticeship program, Building Union Diversity, which really supports minority subcontractors and minority contractors. And in addition to that, we're going to create an incentive for property owners to use organized labor so that, and we can't necessarily mandate it because of the way PACE financing is. It's not like a requirement, it's just all done in the affirmative. In other words, if you want the kind of expertise that organized labor builds or brings to the table, then here, you can use organized labor, and here's a list of contractors, and this will ensure that the project gets done in the quickest, most efficient, and most successful manner possible. We're really excited about the Clean Energy Workforce Agreement and consider it to be unique in the United States.
Talking, Tim, saying that even people who've been electrical workers for 30 years go back and get retrained because we got new equipment that wasn't there 30 years ago.
Correct.
One area I know there's a lot of changing too is in the lighting area with LED lights now pushing out fluorescent lights, which pushed out incandescents not that long ago. Is that area that Local 1 is involved in?
Absolutely. You know, this is a great thing because anytime you can convince the consumer, the customer, that they're going to have some savings involved as they're always going to be trying to put in new lights or new equipment, something. And then we have the ability now to give them an item that's going to save them money and save our planet Earth and what we're using to provide the energy for these projects. So yeah, for us, we're constantly, we call it lighting retrofit, which is what we did down at the MAC. And so we go in, sometimes it's as simple as just dropping the internal parts of a light and putting in the newer parts. We don't have to always take every single piece out, although we do. We'll replace the whole lighting, but we can go in and just replace bulbs, just do the integral part of a light in a hallway and make it more energy efficient, longer lasting, and we're doing this all over the city, the county, the state.
I was at St. Louis University for an event yesterday. I looked up, and it's a big hall, big meeting hall, and the lights were LED.
Yes.
And I was thinking, wow, because it was a tall ceiling, big space, where you needed a lot of light for it to work. And I hadn't even thought to look up, and then I looked up and I thought, whoa.
Absolutely. I mean, again, the consumers, the customers are demanding it. It's not like, a lot of times in this instance, it isn't something you don't really have to go out and sell. They're going to come to you and say, listen, I'm thinking about cleaning up my lighting. And then when we get our people in there, the contractors, the NECA contractors, the project managers, and they go in and go, we're going to provide you with something that's brand new. It's going to save you money. It's going to look better. It's going to last longer. If the customer is paying attention, he's going to jump right on that and go, well, bring it in. Let's go. He was going to replace it anyway. Mm-hmm. So now, in this one where we're saying a job like this MAC, the consumer is experience a savings pretty significant. And sometimes, it's immediate. You're seeing it on your electric bill. You're just doing a better job of not having to worry. Did you turn out the lights? Oh, I don't have to. When we walked out the room, the lights went off. Mm-hmm. Did you set the thermostat? No, we got a program for the rest of the year. It's set. We know exactly where we want to be. I mean, these are items that we can provide with our expertise that does equate to savings dollars, for sure, yes.
And that's something I'm sure when you're looking at a building project and making the case to the building owner that is going to be what you're going to be talking about, right, Byron?
Yeah, and Wally Smith, who's the general manager of the Missouri Athletic Club, and Larry Absher, the CFO, these folks were incredibly forward-thinking, and it takes a while to explain the different moving parts about how PACE financing can make a project of the scale of the Missouri Athletic Club happen. But once the light bulb goes off, once the LED light bulb goes off in their head, people are really rushing to this idea. And we, like I mentioned earlier in the first segment, we've seen an exponential increase in the adoption of PACE projects. Not only in Set the Pace St. Louis, but the exponential curve reflects what's happening nationally. Nationally, there's been about $1.6 billion in PACE financing that's occurred, and that's over, I believe, 82,000 projects, with maybe about only 300 of those being commercial projects. The vast majority of the projects have been done in the residential sector. And what's interesting about PACE financing for homes is you can even get a home battery, like the Tesla battery, that can then power an electrical vehicle. So there's all sorts of amazing products and innovations that can be installed to make our society cleaner and power our society with a smarter sense for the future.
Let's take another quick break. We're going to see a short video about National Drive Electric Week, speaking of electric cars, and then we'll be right back. So take it away.
Since 1990, the Gateway Green Alliance has worked on environmental and social justice campaigns in St. Louis.
The Gateway Greens have brought dedicated activists to speak at Black and Green Wednesday programs, the annual Pesto Feast, Martin Luther King Day, May Day, and Kwanzaa celebrations.
The Gateway Green Alliance is best known for opposing genetically contaminated foods. We invite activists and scholars from around the world to participate in safe food action and bring their creative art.
We need your support to keep going. Please send your $60 membership check or your $30 low-income check. Best of all, come to a Black and Green Wednesday program, 7:30 p.m. on the first Wednesday of the month at Legacy Books and Cafe.
What if we were served a side of truth?
I'll take a super bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich.
Okay, that'll be meat from a pig who can't even turn around, an egg from a bird kept in a cage so small she can't spread her wings, and the milk of a cow whose calf is taken at birth to make veal. Ma'am?
Hello and welcome back to Green Time. I'm your host, John Hickey with the Sierra Club. Tonight's episode is about building energy efficiency. We've been talking to two guests, Byron DeLear from Set the Pace St. Louis, Tim Murray with IBEW Local 1. We're at the end of our half hour. What would you leave our viewers with, Byron?
Well, you know, I just wanted to mention 6 years ago, I helped build the coalition to get this PACE funding legislation passed in Jefferson City. And Missouri has had an incredible relationship to clean energy. I think we're leading the Midwest in terms of our creation of clean energy jobs. And PACE financing is going to see tens of millions of dollars of infrastructure investment just in 2016 alone, which is going to create a lot of good paying American jobs that can't be outsourced. And in fact, I happen to be in the middle of a campaign for state representative for District 70, which is in St. Louis County. And I think it's absolutely important to have legislators in Jefferson City that have an understanding of clean energy policy. And so I'm very excited about being able to support more initiatives like PACE financing, which is going to be a great success, which has been a great success for Missouri. Okay, great. Well, thanks for being with us, Byron. Tim, what would you leave our viewers with?
Well, I would say that, you know, being a member of the IBEW, we're going to celebrate our 125th anniversary this September. We're going to have our national convention here in St. Louis. We're in the process of redesigning the Henry Miller Museum over at Jefferson and Martin Luther King. And one of the things we've prided ourselves in all these years is we are going to educate the people that do this work on a continuous basis, and we're going to do it in the safest way possible. When we talk about these green jobs and these energy efficient models that we're seeing over and over, it's going to take someone that's well trained and
knows how to do it right.
Safety in mind, because even the simplest solar array, potentially 600
can
volts.
Kill you. Okay,
Yes,
well, thanks, Tim. Thanks, Byron. Thanks for watching. Tune in again next week to Green Time. Good night.